Cricket Life Stories with me, Neel Khagram. Today we're joined by Chris Nash. Chris, really appreciate your time.
No, thanks for having me.
So we should have been on cusp of a new season, but we're in self-isolation. How are you keeping?
Yeah, look, it's one of those things, isn't it? I think obviously we were due to be driving down to Cambridge this morning. Would have trained there this afternoon. So I think as the season starts, we're starting to kind of live it, I suppose, but not actually be there. So we all, chatting to the guys, we're all kind of thinking we should be there. We should be going out to Cambridge, ready to play the first class game and get ready for the Champo starting next week. So yeah, very, very strange. Obviously, not something that any of us have ever encountered before. But the situation we're in, we're just getting on with it.
So let's start where it all started for you. So you're born in Cockfield, Sussex. What are your earliest memories of the sport?
I started at the Horsham Cricket Club, so quite a famous ground down this way, and went down there as a young lad, probably a 6-7-year-old. Brother was playing for the under-9s, and I was just hitting a ball against the wall, and the coach there, a guy called Dr. Dew, used to run a programme with 700-800 kids every Wednesday night, just came up and said, "You need to start playing cricket now." Normally it was 9 years old, but he let me in at just under 7. So he got me involved with the under-9 straight away, saw that I could hit a cricket ball. And from there, me and Dr. Dew remained very close until he passed away in 2011. So that was where it all started. And from there, I always played 2 years above my age group at club cricket. Progressed through the ranks at Horsham, through the Sussex junior ranks into the academy, off to university, and then joined the staff at Sussex and spent a long time there. So yeah, it was a great start.
So do you think playing just 2 years above, you said, so kind of adult cricket, and whilst you were actually like a junior, do you think that kind of aided your development?
Massively, yeah. I mean, my brother, obviously just over 2 years older than me, he was a very good cricketer as well. Probably up until kind of 18, he was by far better than me as well. So I was always training with him. Him and his mates would come around and bowl at me in the garden. So I was always being challenged. And I used to turn out, and I just kind of found the bug for the game. And I used to turn up to play for the under-9s or whoever it was, the under-10s, 11s, when they were 2 years above. I used to bat 11 and not bowl, but just loved being there. And although I was quite a lot smaller than everyone else, I just enjoyed being out in the field.
So what age did you get into the Sussex Academy?
The Sussex Academy would have been probably around 15 years old, 16 years old. I was in the junior age groups from the age of 10. And then I joined the academy maybe at 15. And then from there, I stayed in the academy till I went off to university, but went on a tour to Cape Town, played a lot of academy cricket, played a lot of first team cricket at Horsham.
So you said that you went to university. So was playing professional cricket an ambition of yours?
It was. And then I think when I got to about 18, I'd fallen down the pecking order a bit. I wasn't progressing as I should. So at 15, I was playing for England. At 16, I was playing for England 17. So I had quite a successful youth period up until then. Get it right for a couple of years, went to uni, and then at 18, Sussex said, "Look, we're not going to offer you a contract, but we knew you were going to go to university anyway. So off you go to uni and then see where you get to." And then university was probably a key time for me when I kind of realised I could be good enough.
And you said you played England age groups. Any household names that you played with?
Funnily enough, actually, my age group wasn't a particularly successful one. I think I'm the only one still playing from that year, and have been for 3 or 4 years. So the year below me, I think, was Alistair Cook and Ravi Bopara, people like that. And the year above me would have been Ian Bell, and a few people of that kind of ilk. So my era was quite a quiet era in terms of players. I think myself, Phil Mustard, Gordon Mitchell, Errol Sapaya, they're the kind of guys that I came through with up until kind of 18.
And then when you made your debut for Sussex, 2002, I believe, proud moment for you?
So I got called up. I was actually at university then, 2002. I was more of an off spinner. So up until kind of 22, 23, I used to bowl off spin back kind of 9 and 10. So Mark Davis was the off spinner then. This was before Mushtaq Goodwin arrived. And he broke his hand at Taunton. And I was playing a club game and got a call from Peter Moores saying, "You're in the squad for Warwickshire. You're going to play. Pack your bags." So I wasn't on the professional staff. I was on. It was called Academy Plus. So wasn't really a professional deal of any sort. And went up to Warwickshire as a bowler, batted 10. Bowled okay actually, but I wasn't a particularly good off spinner. I was useful as well as my batting, but got a wicket in each innings, and we got beaten comprehensively, and that was 2002. So I didn't play another game for Sussex till 2006. So kind of showed where I was in 2002.
And then your main breakthrough year probably came in 2009. Would that be fair to say? 1,000 championship runs. Is that when you felt, that's where you belong?
I think, 2007, I was lucky. I played the whole season. We won the championship. Made a lot of contributions, but didn't get a big score. Didn't make 100. But I think I faced the second most balls. So I had that was a really good learner for me. And then I started 2008 actually really badly. Got through to about the 8th or 9th game. And I got a pair at Taunton, which back then when it was quite flat was quite a big achievement. So once that happened, I thought, I didn't think I was good enough at that stage. I thought that was that. I thought I'm not good enough. I was averaging about 13, 14. Got dropped for the next game, which was at Old Trafford, up against Lancs. And I was quite close to the coach, Mark Robinson. He'd been my coach through the second team years, and he had to ring and drop me, and he was in tears on the phone because he knew it was my dream. And then, so I was dropped, and I thought that was that. Kind of looked at what else I could do. And then the night before the game, Mike Yardy injured his shoulder, actually. Carl Hopkinson actually just grabbed him by the shoulder and it popped it out. So yeah. I think that there was a lot of debate, and I got the call that night to come up to Lancashire to play the next day. Got 100. Never really looked back. Ended up the season, I think the next 6 games I probably scored 500-600 runs. Got capped at the end of the season. We stayed up from relegation. I got 100 in the last game. So it was quite a big turnaround from probably nearly being out of the game.
Taking your opportunity, isn't it, when it got presented?
Yeah, it was just one of those moments that obviously your whole life kind of hinges on. And then, I went through that season, and I don't think in my next 11 years at Sussex, I never got dropped again. So it was a key time, and once that season was over, I knew I was ready to kick on.
So as we said, 2009, 1,000 championship runs. The year after, I think you backed it up again with another 1,000. Yeah. 2011, you got picked for the England Lions.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that in your golden period in your career, when you're scoring this bag full of runs, did it disappoint you that England Lions was the highest international recognition you got?
I suppose it disappoints you, but then if that era was maybe 2015 to 17, I probably would have been picked I would have played Test cricket.
Put it into context, 2009 when England won the Ashes home, and the following year, 2010-11 away. So in context, of course.
You had Cook and Strauss at the top of the order. I was playing some really good cricket. I mean, 2009, I think I was second in the country behind Trez. Scored a lot of runs in Division 1, played some really good cricket, and I went on a England performance squad. And I think it was the strength of England at that time, that I scored that many runs and still didn't get on the Lions tour. Whereas, if you had done that 3 years ago, you'd have played for England. So for me, it was, I've spoken at length with people like Peter Moores, we spoke about it, and he was obviously involved then. And sometimes timing just doesn't work out, and it doesn't happen. But it's not a regret. It was something it happened, but I played some great cricket, and I was very proud of that.
And then 2017, you left your boyhood club, Sussex, to join Nottinghamshire. How did that move come about?
A few things happened, but it was just one of those things. I think I got to a stage where it was time for a change. I was 34 years old, been at the club all my whole life really. So I was kind of part of the furniture there, and probably reaching that stage of your career where you need some kind of new challenge. For me, that challenge was to go and play somewhere else. To move to a big test ground, to work with Peter Moores again. He was my first ever county coach. That was a huge draw to Nottinghamshire. But it was just a case, I needed something else. I'd obviously got myself in the team at Sussex. I played really well for a long period of time in all formats. captained at times and contributed a huge amount. So I think maybe I got to a stage where I needed a change of scenery and needed to test myself. Obviously, I hadn't played international cricket, so I needed something else to give me a bit of a kick.
And then a word on Peter Moores. You said he was your kind of first coach at Sussex in the first team. Obviously, he's coached England 2 different spells. A lot's been written, said about him. A word on his influence on your career?
I think as a youngster, he influenced me massively because he's got, he's always had a huge enthusiasm to work with players. I worked with him as a 14, 15-year-old when he was still playing. And then to kind of, I didn't spend a lot of time with him when I was a professional because he was with the first team. I was kind of academy and all of that. So I had small amounts of time with him, but he was one of those guys that you hung on every word. Whenever he spoke, you listened and you tried to, remember everything. So, to work with him at the beginning of my career and then bits of contact throughout my career. Obviously, if I was ever at Loughborough, you'd always catch up. And then to go back and work with him over the last 2.5 years now, there's been brilliant for me as a player, but also in terms of, what I'm looking to do in coaching as well.
And how would you summarise the start of your Nottinghamshire career? Obviously, you had the shoulder injury, a disappointment just as you joined the new county.
Yeah, man. You when you make a move like that, I think obviously I'd built up a huge amount of, a great reputation within the county game at Sussex and always achieved a lot and scored a lot of runs every year. So to go there, the last couple of years have been tough as a batter as well. I think generally around the country scores have been pretty low. So although you go there with goals, it was difficult. But I was just starting to play some really good cricket. Actually, got 100 against Worcester, got some runs, captained the side at Essex, and we won. So we were starting to play some good cricket, and then first T20, go over on your shoulder. And then I kind of scrapped around trying to get back, played a game and realised it just wasn't going to happen. So had to have the operation. So yeah, it was, in terms of how your first years go at a new county, it was really disappointing, not getting the chance to show what you're made of. But, it's just one of those things. I've been lucky in that I haven't had many injuries throughout my career.
And then 2019, you come back into this championship side, but let's have a word about that quarter-final of T20.
Yeah.
Come into the side. Were you expecting to get the call that day?
It was one of those, obviously, it's a funny one. I think in the South Division, you'd probably say most teams would have not even considered picking me because I've scored so many runs over the past probably 10 years. So yeah, not getting picked to begin with was pretty hard. But obviously, with the shoulder up the year before, my throwing was just coming back. So and we got a top quality squad. So that was disappointing because I believe I'm one of the better players in the country in T20. But to not play, I think the first couple of games you get away with, but then over time it became more of a frustration. And I was very, very clear, and I said to the coaches, the captain, I said I think I should be playing. And then just kept training hard and just realised that all I can do is help the team in whatever way I could, but also be ready to play when I was picked. So I just worked so hard to be ready. And I think they saw that, and probably that's why I did get the chance in the quarter-final. And walking out there, I was pretty determined to take it.
Yeah, so you and Alex Hales, obviously, fair to say, destroyed Middlesex. A word on Alex Hales. Again, a lot's been said about him. How's it playing with him in the white ball game?
Look, we all know what he's been through, but for me, he's been great to me since I've joined Notts. He's become a good pal. And he works hard. Look, he's made his mistakes. He knows that. Everyone knows that. But he's putting his head down. He's working so hard to get back to where he wants to be. Obviously, had a brilliant winter in T20 cricket around the world. I worked with him at Durban Heat before Christmas, where he was exemplary how he went about it. So I think he's just getting his head down, working hard. He truly accepts the mistakes he made, but he's just trying to get himself back to where he belongs.
And as you mentioned, Durban Heat, you've been doing a lot of coaching with them in the off-season. How did that opportunity come about, working alongside Gary Kirsten?
Gary's been a good pal of mine for a long time. So I've been going out to South Africa for the best part of a decade now, training, playing. Started working with him 4 or 5 years ago as a player. And we just got on really well. So as I started to think more about coaching, and he became a bit of a sounding board, did some work with him last year as a coach for his academy out in Cape Town. And then it just went from there, and we've always spoken regularly about my game and others. And then he just gave me a call and said, how do you fancy coming out to Durban, which was obviously an amazing opportunity for someone who's not done much team coaching. And then obviously did that, which was fantastic, and then joined him in Cape Town after that for his academy.
And is that an ambition of yours then, after your playing career eventually comes to an end, to go full-time to coaching?
I think so, yeah. So something I've really enjoyed. I really enjoyed this winter. I think for any player, cricket's my life, has been for the best part of 25 years. So the knowledge you accumulate over that time is obviously hopefully fairly good. For me, it's about making sure that my playing career, my coaching career are separate, that I'm a coach, and I'm taking all the lessons I've learned as a player and trying to become a very good coach. I think biggest thing as a player is to think you can just walk into coaching, which is for me completely incorrect. You've got to work hard at being a good coach, and that's why I've tried to get as many hours in learning how it works over the last kind of year and a half.
And then on the playing side, I know God knows if we're going to get any cricket this year, but is it just a case of playing as long as you can?
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing is as you get older, and you start to realise this when you kind of hit 35, you realise that there's a lot of young players coming through, and it's your job as an older player is to help them and do your job. So the minute you're not doing your job as an older player, then very quickly people start to look move on. I think when I got injured with the shoulder, you realise how in the space of 6 months people almost forget about you a little bit, which was quite hard to take. But then you've got to just keep making sure that you're performing to the levels that you expect of yourself. So you train hard, and hopefully your performance levels stay up. And I think you do that as long as you can, because it's a great game and you're a long time retired.
And then you've played obviously a lot, the most of your career at the top of the order. You mentioned there just previously that scoring runs at the top of the order in the last few years has been difficult due to conditions, etc. Any advice to any youngsters looking at this video?
I bat 5. I think for any young player coming through, it's and having experienced a lot, and I've seen a lot of young guys come into the game in the last few years, and it's been hard. The ball's moved around. We play in April, we play in September. I think it's to keep the confidence levels up, because I think maybe at some stage the next few years that will change. We'll play more in the middle of the summer when it is easier to bat and score big runs. So make sure people are working hard on the key basics of their technique. Something that I know Gary and Morsey are very big on as top coaches. So something that I've always done and always taught is work on your basics, because they'll look after you in 4-day cricket, 50-over cricket, and T20.
And then the best player you've played with?
Oh, good one. I mean, I think as a bowler, Mushtaq Ahmed was amazing. He won us countless games, countless trophies. So always indebted to him for the most successful period of my career in terms of winning trophies at Sussex. And the best batter would have to be Mushtaq Goodwin. He was similar. Him and Mushy, they were the backbone of our team. One took the wickets, the other was the mainstay of our batting. So Murray could win games on his own from any position, and Mushy could do the same. So it was a pleasure to play with guys like that and to work alongside them.
And then finally, the greatest influence on your career, whether it be playing, coaching, moving forward, or just generally?
It's probably hard to nail it down to one, but Dr. Dew, who started me playing the game, he taught me some really key things about the game, which not so much cricket-wise, but just about how you act around the game, how you respect the game, which I think is really important. Enjoying the game. One of his famous things, he always used to make you bring a packed lunch for 2 people, so you'd always sit with the opposition and have your lunch with them, as a 10, 11-year-old. So that's always been a great lesson for me, in that you play against people and you play with people, but it's the friendships you make. So in terms of the life I've had in cricket, I'd say that Dr. Dew influenced that the most in my attitude towards playing and who I played against.
All right, perfect. Chris, thank you for your time today. As I said, let's see if we get any cricket this year, but if we do, all the best, and all the best with the coaching as well.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Pleasure.
So Neel Khagram, Cricket Last Stories, Chris Nash. Thank you.